Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago. 2 is 4, 4 4 6. Come on, baby, now get your business fixed. Come on, honey, don't you wanna go back to the lemon light?
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Our shows are available on the web, www.ntnm.org, over 250,000 watched. We're very big on community policing, caps24.org. We're filming this shortly after National Night Out. We would like to thank Target for their participation, as well as Zara, Quadri, and Zam's Hope. The Community Policing Office of the 24th District did a really great job. Sonny had over 150 people. We had about 85, which we're very happy with and pleased with. And it was a good time and a good place for community to meet the police and vice versa. This is becoming an annual segment. I want to thank Ed McElroy for arranging it, Ace PR man who you saw last week. The Chicago Police Memorial Foundation holds an annual event and this year it's Tuesday, September 17th, near Soldiers Field at the Police Memorial. Originally, and we did kind of advertise it, Phil Klein, the former commissioner, was going to be on, but he couldn't make it last minute. Jim Mullen, who was injured in the line of duty, 24th District officer, he actually did show up, but his wheelchair is such that he wasn't able to access today. We're going to try to get him on a separate time. He was nice enough to leave us his applesauce, though. Thank you, Jim. And hi to your wife, Athena. And this is becoming OU kosher, by the way, which is pretty cool. And we'll try to get him on the show later on. It is a pleasure to introduce you to the chairman of the Chicago Police Memorial President, Arthur Hannus. Arthur, how you doing?
Pleasure.
And I don't know exactly your title, but John Gordon. And you can tell us your...
I'm the project manager with the Police Memorial Foundation.
Project manager. And you yourself had personal experience.
Yes, and actually it's 9 years ago tomorrow. My brother was an 11th District officer. He was on routine patrol on the west side one Sunday morning, and his patrol car was struck by a drunk driver. He was ejected, and he was killed.
Ouch. And and unfortunately there's been 500 such cases over the years in Chicago.
567.
Wow. It's an awful lot of people don't understand what kind of dangerous job being a policeman is. You know, people might make jokes about donuts, this, that, the other thing, but you know, you're really facing the line of fire big time. So, what do you do for a living, actually?
I work for the memorial.
Oh, so that is your job.
It
Okay,
is my
cool.
job. We're a very lean organization. Phil Klein is the executive director.
Yeah.
Myself, and we have a part-time administrative assistant. We rely a lot on volunteer help, like Mr. Hannus, our board president, and we're doing a lot of great things.
Yeah. Now, you are a former lieutenant, if I'm not mistaken.
No, police detective. And,
detective.
Yeah, lieutenant, that would have been an easy job. You know, I had the hard one.
And how many years were you on the force?
14 years, and just had a great time. A lot of great partners and great memories, you know.
Very cool. And of course, you know, you're definitely involved and staying involved, and this is a great way to do it. You know, I want to tell you something. When I tell the local policemen I deal with, you know, in community policing, that I'm having you guys on in the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, it picks me up a notch with them. So I get my brownie points from having you guys on, too.
Well, great. Well, it's a privilege being here. It's a privilege working with the memorial. And, you know, it was something that was thought about 40 years ago, and no one did anything until Phil and John and the Gold Star families came along and got it going.
No, it's important. And in past years, actually, you know, to show you how widespread it is, just one block from this house is renamed after Sergeant Philip O'Reilly, I believe his name was, and his wife, his widow Bethany, lives next block over here.
Yes.
So, you know, with 567 policemen, you know, who following the line of duty, that's an amazing amount in people need to understand what a dangerous job it is. And especially today with all these, I think knucklehead is the nicest thing I can say on the air, you know, who don't know how to shoot, you know, shooting up everything. It's scary.
Yeah, it is. It's the main difference today is that when I was a young detective or even a kid, you know, if you're walking down the street and you were challenged by a gang member type or whatever, you could just say, hey, I don't want any part of this, and you could walk away, and that would probably be the end of it.
Yeah.
But today they just drive by and shoot any innocent person on the street, and so that's a huge difference.
Yeah, there's also, people don't understand too, there is, among today's gangbanger generation, the lack of, it used to be like when I was a kid, if somebody's mother, not necessarily yours, yelled out the window, you were afraid you ran away, even if it was a, you know, like the old time gang guys. I know cases today, there's like a hookah bar on Devon Avenue that a lot of gang guys used to hang out in. The cops walk in and the gang guys are telling them, we're going to take you out.
That doesn't surprise me, you know.
It's a different world. So, but the thing is, you know, it's not just you do a lot more than just, you know, like honor the memory and make people aware of the problems of the job. I mean, when these people, you know, when God forbid something like this happens, and it's happened, and God forbid it's going to happen again. What do you do? What do you do for the families?
Well, the first thing we do is we go out and see the family.
Yeah.
And we provide a $50,000 check for the family to deal with
Wow.
some of the immediate expenses and so forth. We bring Father Dan Brandt and Moshe Wolf, Rabbi.
Oh, sure. He lives about 3 blocks from here.
Yeah, and they come with us, and often, if the superintendent is available, not out of town, he's otherwise available, but I mean, if he's in New York or something, and as fast as he can get back, the superintendent would be there.
Yeah.
And we try and comfort them, and what happens more often than not is the families comfort us.
Yeah.
These families are
Wow.
just incredible. Yeah, I mean, I've been stunned by it.
You know, you know, one of the things I think about is that this is something that has to be in the back of their minds. Yeah. You know, even when things are well and there's no problems and they're alive and working, it's always in the back of, you know, the family's mind that, you know, this is a dangerous job and this kind of thing can happen.
Yeah. Then John and I usually go out to the roll call for the officer, who, you know, or whatever unit he or she might be in.
Yeah.
And speak to the officers there as well. And it's John's the one who usually organizes that and gets it all set up. And
sometimes we forget that they have an extended family at the police department. So, you know, a lot of focus on the family, but you want to reach out to their coworkers and make sure, you know, they have the help that they need and the support that they need.
You know, I know myself from knowing a lot of the officers in 24 that even if a policeman they're not familiar with, you know, goes down in a different part of the city, they try to make it a point to be there for the funeral and to pay proper respects to the family.
yes.
And I know that when Sergeant Riley was shot, the amount people were calling me like crazy because I'm the beat facilitator here. What are all the police cars doing over there? So I mean, there was a constant stream. I mean, people take this very seriously, and it's a brotherhood. You know. I've seen it myself. It's like some people want to criticize the police for, you know, being too close. But, you know, when you're putting your life on the line, there's no one else that understands what that's like other than the police officers themselves.
It's true, and it's astounding the dedication that they have to the families. They'll do anything for the families, you know. But part of John's continuing work really involves what goes on after that, after the funeral. You know, and to make certain that these families don't feel like they're left alone and so forth.
Yeah.
And if you want to address any of that, John, please do.
Even being a survivor, I can tell you, and I'm from a police family. I'm the only civilian from a police family. My father's retired from the suburbs. I have another brother who serves in the suburbs. It's very different growing up in a police family, but you encounter an incident like this, It's very important that your officer isn't forgotten. So we do everything we can. And actually, that's our motto, never forget. We do everything we can for those families to make sure they know they haven't been forgotten. We have a campaign that we call Operation Santa. Right before Christmas, we'll get a Santa and Mrs. Claus, presidential limousine, an entourage of Chicago police cars. We'll find out, what gifts the kids of fallen and injured officers might want, and we'll go shopping for them, and we'll go around the city on those days and make that visit. And especially around the holiday, you want to know that you're remembered. So it's something we're very proud of.
Yeah, that's important, and it sounds like really a great thing. No question about it. No question about it. Wow. And this is all just like 2.5 people paid?
Yes. I mean, we're a very lean organization, but that allows us to give that much more back to our programs.
No, that's important. Well, unfortunately, I've dealt with a lot of charities that you have a lot of too much fat on the bone, but no, there's no question about it. How do you, well, besides for being on shows like this, how do you make yourself known to people?
Social media, any PR, like you promoted the Candlelight Vigil, any event like that, we'll try to push out what PR we can around events like that. Mailing campaigns, we have a pretty deep constant contact email database of about 20,000 people.
Wow.
Website, so just anything we can to get the word out. And then, we have 10,000 Chicago police officers that we have a reach to, and we rely on them a lot.
No, that's important. No question about it. How many, Arthur, your turn. How many people usually show up at the vigil? What kind of crowd? Well, given good weather, let's say.
Well, I'd say 5,000 or 6,000. Does that sound
Wow.
about right?
I would say about 5,000, right.
Yeah.
Weather
Yeah.
permitting, about 5,000 people.
That's a serious crowd.
Oh yeah, they come out and they really show support, and we usually have I think every time we've had the mayor and the governor out as well, and there's a definite program where we read the names of the fallen officers, and I suppose there's probably I don't know, maybe 100 guys or 50 to 100 people at least that are involved in reading the names, as well. So
I know that the one time I had to be at 35th, on the main floor there's a corridor, with naming, forget if it's pictures or badges or whatever, all the different fallen officers through the years, and just when you go through and see the numbers, I was just dumbfounded.
well, it's astonishing, and until this memorial was built, that's all there really was for Chicago police. But I know Phil went to other cities and saw that some of them had memorials and things, and they were pretty nice. And that's kind of how he got the idea to do this. As far as the number of stars, I know from the time that I started as a police cadet until today, I'll bet it's near half those names.
Wow.
It's just huge. I go down the wall, the entire wall, and I just can't believe it.
Well, it's very appropriate too that it's at Soldiers Field. Besides for the fact that, it's a memorial for soldiers and all the rest of it, because it's such a, so many people go there, whether it's for the beers or other venues. A lot of people pass it by on the way and become aware of it because it is in such a public place.
Yes, it's a beautiful park.
Yeah, easily accessible, and now it's just south of Soldier Field.
It's just east between the stadium and the water.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, and do you have a big difference in the crowd if somebody unfortunately, do recent events matter at all in terms of crowd size, or is that something?
I don't think that affects crowd size at all. Everyone who comes really is committed. And they know any day, it could be another officer, could be several more, God forbid. So they're prepared all the time.
Wow. No, that's certainly some heavy stuff. How many in the last year? How many police officers were lost in the line of duty?
Well, actually, in the last calendar year, we've lost none.
Yes,
thank God.
Been very lucky.
And so we've been very, very happy about that. So, but in any given year, you could have any number. I mean, there's no way to predict it.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that somebody who was I think he was still in uniform was shot at by a somebody on the street. I mean, showing that's the kind of disrespect I was talking about earlier with what happens in today's society.
Yes, well, officers are being shot at every single day still. I mean, that much hasn't changed too much. Just that, God is protecting them, and if you don't believe that, you've got to believe there's a lot of good luck going on. So,
I'll believe in God.
So
I'm pretty strong on that one.
I think you are.
I'm pretty strong. That's definitely a good thing. So, okay, you've got a website, and you can Google Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. We've got the memorial September 17th. What about, do you also help with the education of the children and all that?
We do.
Fallen officers?
Yes. For the elementary and secondary education, we pay for that for the officers' children.
Yeah.
And also for the college for the catastrophically injured. And what else would we do, Jen?
Each kid also gets a $2,500 educational grant, whether they go to private school or public school. At the beginning of each year, just, if you have kids going to school, there's a lot of expenses, books, clothing, after school programs, transportation. So each of those kids, can rest a little easier that they have that money there to cover those programs.
Yeah, so a guy like Jim Mullen, who was catastrophically injured, who, for those of you who missed the beginning of the show, he was actually here today. We're not that wheelchair. He doesn't just have any old wheelchair. I mean, he's, on permanent ventilation, and he needs a much wider situation. He couldn't make it. He was nice enough to drop off some applesauce. Thank you. Which is going to be kosher soon, which is also cool. So he's got a 17-year-old, so she'll be taken care of along those lines.
Yes, we pay for her tuition.
No, that's terrific, because I can't imagine that in his situation, even with the Mullen Foundation and people helping him through, the Mullen's bars and all that, how he can possibly support himself is beyond me. Really is.
Yes. Well, these officers sacrifice everything for us, and we need to help them. When a family loses the job that they do with the police department, they often lose, a second income as well. Most of these officers are already working extra,
No, it's
to
true.
pay
I
for
mean,
those things,
so many guys doing security stuff, and it's not even funny. I mean, people really, you don't get rich being a police officer.
Not a bit.
And frankly, these days, I'd also worry about the pensions, considering what's happening to the city of Chicago right now. The New York Times had a very scary article yesterday about Chicago pensions, and basically saying that Chicago real estate taxes have to go, property taxes need to go up about 150% to cover our liabilities.
Wow.
So, and this is something too, because anyway, that's a story for another day.
Right, that's a whole other show.
Yeah, a whole other show. And but no, I want to urge you all, September 17th. If people want to help with the event at all in the meantime, is there something people can do to help publicize the event or help you guys, set up things?
We're always looking for volunteers. If they want to go to our website, cpmemorial.org. You said you could Google Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. We have a Facebook and Twitter page. But like I said, we're a very lean organization. We're very reliant on volunteers, so they're always welcome.
So volunteers are important. And what kind of things can volunteers do?
Go ahead.
Well, all year we have events that they can work on to help raise money. There's the Run to Remember. There's the Friends of Chicago's Finest golf outing.
Yeah.
There's the Pedal for the Police. What's the motorcycle one?
Ride to Remember.
Ride to Remember.
Yeah.
With the motorcycle. So there's all kinds of events like that.
No, that sounds good. So volunteer. There's lots of good ways you can get involved. And can they also volunteer to help the bereaved families and things like that?
Well, yeah, depending on their background, expertise with that, whether they're families, we welcome everybody who wants to help. Period.
Yeah.
But
that probably wasn't one of my better questions, but I just was
no.
curious
I
about
mean,
it.
it's got to work for the family. That's what we care about.
It's such a serious subject. I mean, usually, you guys know I like to joke around, but when I think of all these, especially having seen Jim Mullen earlier today. I mean, we were with Jim less than an hour ago. And seeing him in the van, and hooked in with two people that have to help him, and he has to be carted around in a van, and seeing the ventilator in his throat, and he can't move anything. He's basically a quadriplegic. And his cheery attitude toward life and how he tries to go forward and keep things going, it just, he's a remarkable guy, he really is.
I've never met anyone like him. He's Mr. Positive. I mean, he doesn't want to just do nothing. That's why he did the applesauce thing, you know.
Yeah.
He's just amazing, you know. A lot of the rest of us would just kind of roll over, but he's tough and he's positive.
No question about it. And he also was involved with the president at one time,
Yes.
and all sorts of other good things. And Athena, we want to show all the best with this. Phil Klein, make the show one of these years. We really like to meet you in person. And Ed McElroy, Ace PR Man, I want to thank you very much for arranging us to have Arthur Hannus, who's the president of the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, John Gordon, who works there, who lost a brother. Google Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, big event September 17th. I hope all of you will show up and show proper respect toward the Chicago Police Department. It's an extremely dangerous job, and you know, one that needs to be respected. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.